Hi, you all. This is Dustin, the Blind Minnesota. And today I want to talk about Columbia Heights. Um, Columbia Heights, Minnesota is a first ring suburb of Minneapolis and a fourth ring suburb of St. Paul. Um, Columbia Heights is on the east side of the Mississippi River. So when you look on the east side of Mississippi, the east side of the Mississippi River, you see Columbia Heights, then you see northeast Minneapolis, where the University of Minnesota is, and then you'll see St. Paul. So, so northeast East Minneapolis is such a big area. Northeast Minneapolis pretty much goes from all the way from the north of downtown Minneapolis all the way down to like the edge of Bloomington. So it's funny is there's a part of northeast Minneapolis where you can actually look into Bloomington. And then once you go through northeast Minneapolis, that's when you're in St. Paul. That's how it kind of works on my side of the river. And on the Minneapolis side of the river, on the west side of the river, you kind of have to go through Minneapolis, through Bloomington, and then you end up in St. Paul. So I live now on the east side of the Mississippi River. So now to get to St. Paul, I just have to go through northeast Minneapolis. So, and northeast Minneapolis is famous because that's where the University of Minnesota is located. So, so I have a, a bus called the 10 that goes from the North Main Mall in Blaine, and then it goes down University, and then it drops people off at the Columbia Heights transit station, and then it goes down Central, and then it goes down Central back onto University, all the way down to northeast Minneapolis. Then it goes into downtown Minneapolis, where you can catch a 6 bus. Then that'll take you from downtown Minneapolis back into northeast Minneapolis, back onto University, all the way down to the U of M campus. Or when you're in downtown Minneapolis, you can just hop on the Green Line train. That'll take you right to the University of Minnesota campus too. So you have kind of like where I live, you kind of have like multiple ways to get to the University of Minnesota campus. So a lot of people that rent apartments in Columbia Heights are a lot of them are like college students that are going to the U of M who can't afford Northeast Minneapolis. Um, it's and then I have Columbia Heights is made of a lot of Hispanic community, these from South America and Mexico. We even have some Cubans. Um, and they come here to Columbia Heights because living here is cheap. So then they can get to downtown Minneapolis and they can get to downtown St. Paul and they can get to University of Minnesota where and then they can take the bus out to Blaine, work out in the shops out in Blaine, and then if they drive, they can also drive out to the new housing developments in Blaine and work on the housing. So Columbia Heights is a good spot for them because there's a bunch of ways they can kind of go. So I moved here to Columbia Heights about a month ago, and I really, really like it. The only negative about Columbia Heights is we don't really have no major grocery stores. We don't have like a Walmart, we don't have a Target, we don't have a Cubs because Columbia Heights was kind of built before superstores. Because when Columbia Heights was built, um, it was before Fridley even existed, or it was before even Blaine existed. So like everyone would live in like Columbia Heights and then bus into downtown. And a lot of people that back then when they lived in Columbia Heights, they did all their shopping in downtown Minneapolis. So now that the times have changed, now there's superstores, people don't want to shop in downtown Minneapolis anymore. Now we have online, but that now a lot of the more monitored amenities is kind of in like Fridley and Blaine, newer cities above Columbia Heights that were built after Walmart came in existence, after Super Target came in existence. So the biggest negative is if I want to go to like a Cubs or a Target or a Walmart, I have to hop on the 10 bus and I have to take like a 15 to 20-minute bus ride to get to those superstores. But be lucky, Hilltop, like a small community between Columbia Heights and Fridley, has a Hispanic grocery store that sells milk, sells beans, sells carrots, sells corn, and all like kind of the basics, and they sell pudding. You know what I mean? And you can kind of tell. I don't read Spanish, but as an English speaker, you can kind of tell what foods are for by looking at the pictures. Because like when you see like a banana in something dark on the can, it kind of tells you that hey, this is some kind of dessert that goes with bananas because based on the pictures. And then like you buy bananas and then like you bring that home and then you put it together. I'm like, okay, this is pudding. This is chocolate pudding. So if like you go when I go to the Mexican grocery store in Hilltop, so then I don't have to bus all the way up to Fridley or Blaine, I just look at the pictures. Okay, these are what the people are using the stuff for on the pictures of the item. So then I normally find what's in the pictures and then I put those ingredients together and I kind of eat what the item is made for. And then I don't have kind of a problem. Sometimes I get it wrong and I'm like, okay, this tastes awful. But sometimes it tastes really good and I'm like, I'm so happy I did this. Um, Columbia Heights um, is it's good because I have a half an hour ride into downtown Minneapolis, where then from there I can get to St. Paul or all that stuff. I have a half an hour ride to Blaine, so I can go shop at the North Town Mall or all the businesses on University that are on the way to the North Town Mall in Fridley. Um, and then Monday through Friday, every 2 hours, there's a bus that goes from the Columbia Heights Transit Station to the Brooklyn Center Transit Station or the St. Anthony's Transit Station. And then from St. Anthony, I can take a different bus that goes from the St. Anthony's Transit Station to the Rosedale Mall Transit Station that's in Rosedale. That's Monday through Friday. And then once I get to the Rosedale Mall Transit Station, I can take a bus that goes to like Como Zoo in St. Paul, and then from Como Zoo, it goes to downtown St. Paul. But most of the times when I want to go to St. Paul, I just take the 10 bus into downtown Minneapolis, and then from there just take the train into St. Paul. So, because I don't want to wait forever at the Rosedale Mall for a second bus to take me to downtown St. Paul. Um, but one day I might take it, but not today. Um, and then I never really have a reason to go to St. Paul, but from Columbia Heights, if you technically wanted to get to St. Paul, you technically can. Um, eh, it's it's just easier taking the 10 into downtown Minneapolis and then taking the train into St. Paul. Um, I took the 801 bus once to go to the Xfinity store outside the Rosedale Mall to return some rental router. And the Rosedale Mall is a very good place to shop because it's like taking the whole city of Maple Grove and shoving it in one spot and towering it up. And then the Rosedale Mall has parking ramps and all these things to do also around the mall. And I haven't took the 801 to Brooklyn Center yet because after Walmart closed in Brooklyn Center, there's no need for me to go to Brooklyn Center because all the stores I need that are not the Northtown Mall are at the Rosedale Mall. So between the Rosedale Mall on the 801 bus and the Northtown Mall on the 10 bus, I pretty much have all the stores I want. And if I want to go to Walmart, I just take the 10 bus up to the Northtown Mall in Blaine, and then 2 blocks away from the Northtown Mall in Blaine, there's a Walmart. So I normally grab my shopping cart, hop on the 10 bus, take the 10 bus all the way up to the Northtown Mall, um, get off the 10 bus, and then the Northtown Mall transit station has a sidewalk that takes you to a four-way intersection. That's Course University. And then you can cross and end up on a bike path and that over by Sleep Number. And that bike path by Sleep Number will take you past Shirley Williams Paint and it'll take you all the way down to Walmart and Sam's Club in Blaine. So slash Fridley because half of the Walmart is in Fridley and half the Walmart is in Blaine. So it's kind of goofy, but I just call it in Blaine. Um, and then, I bring my shopping cart, walk over there. When I'm shopping, I load up what I want to buy into my shopping cart. And then I know, okay, I'm only taking home what can fit in this shopping cart easily. So then I grab some milk and I grab some cereal or whatever I need to get from Walmart. I go through the line and then I don't ask for bags and I just after the person scans them, I load the stuff back on my shopping cart, pay, and then I leave the Walmart. I just have their sheet and I show the guy so the guy knows I didn't steal it. And I walk back to the North Tall Mall, hop on the 10 bus, and I go back to Columbia Heights. Um, with my Walmart stuff full with my cart full of Walmart stuff. So, yeah, and I don't mind it. And then sometimes I do go to Target and I do go to Aldi's and I do go to Cubs and I just bring my shopping cart because they're all along the 10 bus. But I have a bunch of shopping opportunities. That's why I like where I'm living because the 10 gives me those opportunities. And the 10 bus has all these restaurants, mom and pop shops on along the 10. And then the 801 bus, they'll take you from Brooklyn Center to Columbia Heights to St. Anthony and then to Rosedale Mall. Um, that 801 bus, um, St. Anthony has like all these high-end shops I can stop at like Monday through Friday. And then the Rosedale Mall is like Maple Grove stacked on top of each other and there's also cool strip malls outside that mall. So the only way I really don't go is towards Brooklyn Center because after the Walmart closed, there's no reason for me to go over there. And the only reason that I'll go to Brooklyn Center is like Five Below or Birmingham Coat Factory. But the Northtown Mall in Blaine has a Birmingham Coat Factory. So I just go to that. I would just go to that one because it's easier. Um, and then sometimes I'll walk on Central, um, because I try to get my exercise. So I'll put on a heavier coat and I'll go for walks down Central. And sometimes I'll take the 10 bus to on the weekends when I'm by myself to the Northtown Mall, and then I'll walk down University and then I'll take a soda break and an ice cream break at the McDonald's on University in Fridley, and then I'll just keep walking all the way to the Cubs on Fridley, in the Cubs and Fridley on University. And then from there, because by there you hit 694 and you can't technically allow to walk on the freeway. So then from there I hop on the 10 bus, and then the 10 bus goes on the freeway to get me over the freeway, and then from there I just take the 10 all the way home. So sometimes I walk on University in Fridley. Um, so then I get my exercise. Um, and that university in Fridley has the Sam's Club, has that Walmart that eventually turns into Blaine in university, and it has all this kind of stuff. Um, and the good thing I also like Columbia Heights is the Metro Mobility taxi service. It runs like 24 hours a day, so I can travel within Columbia Heights like 24 hours a day, and then I can get anywhere in Brooklyn Park 24 hours a day, and anywhere in Brooklyn Center 24 hours a day. So if like my friends and stuff tell me like 2 days ahead of time, like, hey Dustin, we want to go to a bowling alley in Brooklyn Park, I can say, cool, let's do this. And I can call them and Metro Mobility and get a ride. And then, I can go party with my friends at a bowling alley or whatever we're doing in Brooklyn Park. And then, um, you know, come back home. So I'm really excited um, about living here in Columbia Heights. Um, how I discovered I wanted to live in Columbia Heights was by testing. Um, I took a city bus out to Robbinsdale. I took a city bus out to New Hope, Crystal. I took a city bus out to Plymouth. I took a city bus out to St. Louis Park. I took a city bus out to Edina, and I liked St. Louis Park and I liked Edina, but I did some research and those rents there would be too expensive for me. So then I didn't like New Hope, Crystal, Robbinsdale. Their apartments were in good condition, but I did not like how there was no major shops around. And with their public transportation to get to the major shops, you always had to go from the first ring suburb to downtown Minneapolis, hop on a different bus to go to a different suburb to do your shopping. And I didn't like that. So I chose Columbia Heights because it was affordable. I can hop on one bus to do all my shopping. There's things here. But the one negative thing I don't like about the 10 buses, between downtown Minneapolis and the Columbia Heights transit station, the bus feels like it goes forever. Because the 10 bus has stops on every block, so then if sometimes some days there's someone standing between downtown Minneapolis and Columbia Heights Transit Center, like every block. So then when the bus just gets going, it has to pull over, pick someone up. The bus just gets going, they have to pull over and pick someone up. And then just that takes so much time. But once it hits the Columbia Heights Transit Center, and then it starts going between Columbia Heights Transit Center and the Northtown Mall Blaine, there ends up being less stops on the road, and then the bus goes way faster. So sometimes when you're waiting at the Columbia Heights Transit Center, you're like, this bus is over 10 minutes late, and it gets delayed in downtown Minneapolis to the Columbia Heights Transit Center part because it has all the stops it has to do by the time people get on, they pay, blah blah blah. And suddenly it's like over 10 minutes late. But then you just have to breathe and say, hey, at least I can still get to the store. I just have to be patient. Um, and then the issue is if one 10 is late, it delays the other 10s. And now the whole schedule's late. So that's the biggest negative about the 10 is it runs into a lot of like delays. But when the 10 is working, the 10 is working. Um, My favorite place to eat around here so far has been Jet's Pizza. Jet's Pizza is in the town of Hilltop, and Jeff's Pizza is kind of expensive, but it's also very, very good. It's and then next door to it, it's a Hispanic ice cream place where the ice cream tastes like it's homemade, kind of quality, and it's a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth going. And then at the end of that mall, there's a hardware freight. And the hardware freight, it's a tool place. You can get basic tools and stuff. Um, I only been in the hardware freight only once because hardware freight they sell quality tools, but they only give you one option for a quality tool. A lot of times I just take the bus to Menards and Fridley, and then for at least Menards, they don't sometimes they sell you dirt cheap tools and they're not quality tools like Hardware Freight, but at least Menards gives you more options. So I'd rather buy a cheaper, less quality tool and have more options than have a higher end tool and only have one option so that Hardware Freight does. But pretend if like you're someone who's building homes or doing like handyman work, I would say go to Hardware Freight and buy the one tool they do have and have that last for 30 years. While the ones you buy from Menards are only made for one or two projects before you get rid of them. So if you're going to be like in the trades, you want to go to Hardware Hanks and that kind of place. And oh, sorry, Hardware Freight. Yes, we do have a Hardware Hanks too, but you want to go to Hardware Frank and Hank and Freight, Hardware Freight too. A place like that in Columbia Heights here and get like a more higher end tool than going to a place like Menards. But because I only need tools to like put furniture together, I normally just want to go to Menards where I have more cheaper options because I just need a tool to survive one or two projects. Um, and then, the number one place I shop here when I live in Columbia Heights is Target because by in Fridley because it's the closest store along the bus. And then here that I can get to. And then here in Columbia Heights, our gym is like a Planet Fitness. So then you can just hop on the bus, 10 bus, and get to Planet Fitness. But if once you pass Planet Fitness, if you wait two stops, you end up at the old Lifetime in um, Fridley. That is a little fancier than a Planet Fitness, but the issue with an old Lifetime is they don't have some of the modern amenities that newer Lifetimes have. So then so if you don't want to work out at Planet Fitness, you can wait two extra stops and end up in Fridley and go to a Lifetime. It's not a new Lifetime like the ones you see in Champlin and stuff. It's an old Lifetime, but even old Lifetimes have more features than Planet Fitness. Um, so I like it here. Um, and then I have like a parks parks all around me here in Columbia Heights because Columbia Heights was designed shopping area, apartments slash condos, single family homes, and then parks, then more single family homes. So I do have a lot of parks. So a lot of times when I go on my walk, if I don't want to walk on University or Central, I will in. I'll walk into the single family neighborhood behind my condo, and then I will um, walk around the park in that single family home development and walk through the single family homes um, because I'm trying to get into shape. And in downtown Minneapolis, it's when I was living down there. It was hard for me to exercise outside like how I want to because there's when you're trying to walk and exercise, there's always homeless people coming up to you, begging you for money or begging you for a cigarette. and you can't really focus on your walk when people are always coming up to you and begging you for stuff. So, at least here in Columbia Heights, I feel like I can go outside and enjoy myself without homeless people coming up and begging stuff for me and getting in my way and disturbing my walk. Um, and then here in Columbia Heights, we don't have to pay for bag fees because Columbia Heights is in Anoka County. And so here in Anoka County is a little bit more Republican than Hennepin County. So at least when I shop here, I can get plastic bags and paper bags for free. When I go to Minneapolis, I have to remember to bring my reusable bags so they're not charging me 20 cents per bag I take. I know a lot of people say, "Oh my God, 20 cents, ha 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 ha." I can easily pay that, but when like you're me, who's visually impaired and on a fixed income, those 10 cents per bag can make a difference of you buying an extra apple or not. So you mean so I like that here I can go bring my shopping cart to the store and not have to worry about, oh my God, do I have to bring my own bag? So the only store out here I have to worry about bringing my own bags to is of course is Aldi's. But at least now I have plenty of bags for Aldi's. So and then my neighbors here in Columbia Heights, they're very nice. A lot of them are Hispanic families, and so they live with their grandma, the people own the house, and the kids, the grandkids. So it's like a three-generational thing. And a lot of families in Columbia Heights only one spouse owns a car. So it's weird because when I'm taking the 10 bus, you'll see a lot of the husbands will take the car, drop off the kids at school, and then head to their factory work or the construction work, and the wife will walk to the 10 bus, and then she will hop on the bus, and then she will go to work. So um, and then if the kids are too young, you see grandma slash mom or whatever way you want to phrase it is watching the kids. And so then they don't have to pay so much money in daycare because grandma slash mom is cheaper than paying for child care services. So, so then you see a lot of that. And because I live in a condo, I run into a lot of older neighbors. Like my neighbors are older, and then on Saturdays and Sundays, you will see their kids come, their kids will hang out with their parents and all that stuff, and then they'll play board games and all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty cool. Um, so so Columbia Heights is peaceful. Like sometimes when you walk in the neighborhoods in the morning, you'll see deer, you'll see squirrels. We have a albino squirrel. Um, that goes everywhere in the neighborhood. Sometimes he's in my neighborhood, sometimes he's in the park, sometimes it's the same squirrel. He travels everywhere. Um, and then people bike. Um, People here bike on the sidewalk because it's not safe to bike on the road. So people bike on the sidewalk. So when like you're walking, you have to pay attention because when someone's biking towards you on the sidewalk, you just have to move over, step in the grass, and let them pass you. Because for them, biking on the sidewalk is the only place where they can bike that's safe. But be lucky out here in the suburbs, like Columbia Heights, not a lot of people walk. So a lot of times you can bike for a good mile or two before you even see someone on the sidewalk. So because Columbia Heights is a very car oriented city and they added the buses in later. So just for people like me and the immigrants have a way to get around and get to work and stuff. So if the immigrants, the Hispanic immigrants, did not live in Columbia Heights, this city would not have a bus service. The Hispanic community keeps the bus service between Columbia Heights and Blaine alive. Because sometimes when I hop on the bus and I go to like Blaine or stop someplace in Fridley, um, on University Avenue, I'm the only white guy on the bus. So, and on Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of Hispanic families in Columbia Heights will also take the 10 bus to go up to the Northtown Mall, and their kids will go to the Best Buy outlet at the mall, or the Burlington at the mall, or they do like me, they bring their shopping carts and they cut across University and they go shopping at Walmart in Blaine slash Coon Rapids because the Walmart's kind of split between two cities and and they'll spend family day together. So where I live right now, it's a very family orientated place and I really like it here and I encourage other disabled people to come check it out too and to learn more about Columbia Heights because here we have senior condos, senior apartments, regular townhomes, senior retirement townhomes, single family homes. We have a trailer park. We have so many options that we have the 10 bus for people who can't drive or don't have the money to drive. We have the 801 bus Monday through Friday for people who can't drive but still need to go places like the Rosedale Mall in Rosedale, St. Anthony, or Brooklyn Center. You know what I mean? So I love where I live, and I make more lively videos on my YouTube channel called Dustin Limburg. So if you want more detail about this stuff, you have to kind of go to my YouTube because my YouTube is a little bit more visual. This I can't. I can. It's hard for me to do sometimes because I have to make you guys have a picture in your head by talking. So I hope you guys have a good day and please share this episode with your friends and please rate it because if you rate it on Spotify or you rate it on Apple Podcasts, it will boost my recommendation. And then, because my whole goal with this podcast is one day have so many listeners that I can pay my bills with this podcast. So, I hope you guys all have a good day. Bye bye.